Hey Ben, sorry it's taken me so long to get back to you, but I've been a bit busy and I've decided to do it in this format too because sometimes I just get really pissed off with typing. I'm only a two-finger typer, so the idea of typing a massive response sometimes makes me a bit depressed. So I thought I'd just do it in this format. That way I can really get across what I'm trying to say to you as well. So basically I'm just going to take your comment and I'm going to try my best to answer any of the questions that you propose to me. I've read the previous comments again, so I can try and keep in the spirit of what we were actually talking about. So I'll keep going back and forth. But let's start with the top of your comment there 2 weeks ago. Sorry for taking so long to get back to you. Thank you for answering my questions. No, thank you, Ben. Look, it's always good to get somebody who's being polite in this type of environment. And I know sometimes I'm a little bit guilty of being a bit what's the word for it? Pejorative, a little bit combative. But sometimes, on a good day everything's okay, but on a bad day you get a bit pissed off. But that's fine. But you've been cordial, and I just had a few things, a problem with, sorry, most of your video, and I wanted to sort of comment on it, but you've been great, and I hope we can continue this sort of dialogue. Okay, you appear to be suggesting that man made his own morals and simply pretended that God did it. Yes, I am suggesting that. In the way that it's relevant to the fact that did we did we decide. I think in a way we do decide, but there's certain factors that structure those decisions. To put it anthropologically, we look back, and let's look back to 200,000, 300,000 years ago, when we were quite primitive. Our ancestors were quite primitive. Actions had consequences. Let's just say you were a small family group, tribe unit. You were foraging on the plains of Africa or wherever it was, and somebody had to keep watch for predators. Now, if that person went to sleep or didn't watch properly, actions had consequences, really bad consequences for the group as a whole. So in that way, we had to decide that that was a bad thing, and it had consequences, and consequences not only for the group, for the person who made the infraction. So in a way, we do decide this sort of stuff, but there's situations that pointed in a certain direction. Those situations are usually revolve around surviving in a group, because that's what we are. We're a social species, and we survive by cooperation, and that's cooperation within groups as units, and cooperating with outside groups because they might have something to offer. So that's what dictates these things that we've labelled immoral and moral. Okay, I hope that sort of clarifies that. And pretending that God did it, Look, religion pretends that God did it. We have perfectly reasonable explanations how we got our moral and immoral behaviour, good, right, wrong, all that sort of stuff. But religion comes in and pretends that God did it, because in the end, personally, this is what I think, that it comes down to the ability for a certain class to keep control of others. When you're talking about religion dictating morals and immorality and all that sort of thing, you notice that sin comes into it a lot. And sin is a very religious-based idea, which usually revolves around some sort of infraction on some sort of deity. That to me is just, it's sort of the baseless assertion of what's moral and immoral, because in the end you can neither prove that this deity exists and that this sin against this deity is somehow bad. So to me, that is all a waste of time. So yes, I think it is that the religious community is the ones that pretend that God did it. Um, do you think man made the correct morals? I'm not sure how to answer that. Correct? I, does that really come into it? We have the moral, we have things that we've labelled moral and right that are successful. Are they correct? I don't know. A little bit of a mouthful question. You might have to expand on that. How do we judge which moral system is right when morality itself is the idea of what is right? We judge what is right and wrong by what works and what doesn't. It's pretty much as simple as that, and that is ingrained in us for the reasons, anthropological reasons that I've just explained. Okay, for the issue of Deuteronomy 22, if we keep reading down to verse 25, the text makes it clear that the girl is not to be executed if she was raped. In that case, the rapist is to be executed. Nevertheless, the punishment of execution seems excessive for a woman who got engaged to a man that got pregnant by another man. The issue is pregnancy in the text, since the proof of her virginity is her period. No, it's not, Ben. This is where I sort of get a little bit exasperated with the theist community. We start equivocating about what things mean. We start saying, well, you're not reading this verse in context, you're not doing this, you're not doing that, when the verses say what they say. I'm having a similar argument with a guy right now about slavery in the Bible. He's saying that, you know, I'm not reading the verses right and all that sort of thing, and equivocating what slavery means, and it's just messy. So look, this is the verses that I'm talking about. It was one particular situation where, let's have a look here. Hang on. Sorry, hang on. Just let me get to the right verse. Well, let's start from the top here. Marriage violations that start off at verse 13 in Deuteronomy 22. If a man takes a wife and after sleeping with her dislikes her and slanders her and gives her a bad name, saying, I married this woman, but when I approached her I did not find proof of her virginity, then the young woman's father and mother shall bring to the town elders at the gate proof that she was a virgin. Her father shall say to the elders, I gave my daughter in marriage to this man, but he dislikes her. Now he has slandered her and said, I did not find your daughter to be a virgin. But here is proof of my daughter's virginity. Then her parents display the cloth before the elders of the town, and the elders shall take the man and punish him. They shall fine him 100 shekels of silver and give them to the young woman's father, because this man has given an Israelite virgin a bad name. She shall continue to be his wife, blah, blah. If, however, the charge is true and no proof of the young woman's virginity can be found, she shall be brought to the door of her father's house, and there the men of the town shall stone her to death. She has done an outrageous thing in Israel by being promiscuous, by still in her father's house. You must purge the evil from among you. Now, this isn't about pregnancy. This is about not having proof of virginity, getting your own daughter, and not just killing her outright, okay, but taking her to a public place and slowly murdering her with rocks. Stoning is not a quick process. It's a horrible, terrible way to die, and this is the punishments that are laid out by the God you're proposing that is amazingly good. Okay, that's my point. We're not going to equivocate about pregnancy, because that's not what it's about. It's about virginity, and it's about the fact that she's damaged goods now for whatever reason. She's not pregnant, and she's no longer worth anything. So we're going to kill her. We're going to kill her slowly in a public place, horribly and slowly in a public place. That is an incredibly vile thing to do, that has been set up as a law by your God, apparently. Okay, this is my point. Is God good? No. If he has ever made a law like that, I don't care why. You can you can give me all the moral relativism you want, because that's what it basically boils down to. You're basically saying that in this situation, it is okay to stone a woman to death. Oh, okay. Well, are we just gonna say that, we're gonna make up the situation for everything? That's moral relativism, and that's generally what I as an atheist get accused of being, when it is right throughout your religion. Okay, next one. Um, Nonetheless, we notice many severe punishments in the Old Testament that seem similarly strange to us. The simple answer is the situation. Moral relativism. These people were Jews and had made a covenant with God to be his special nation. In order to be that required strict rules. Furthermore, the way the rules were given were different. If God comes down and shakes the heavens and earth to tell you to do something, then a death sentence for failing to do it makes more sense. But if these rules you just read in some dusty old book, execution for failing to do it makes less sense. I'm not going to get into the specifics of the laws and all that sort of thing, because my point in this context is that you are saying that in certain situations it is okay to drag a girl out in front of her father's house and stone her to death. You're saying sometimes that's a good thing to do, sometimes that's the right thing to do. I'm saying that's never, ever the right thing to do, and that's my morality, that's my sense of right and wrong, coming from my background as an atheist. You understand that I cannot condone that activity ever. I don't care if it was 2,000 years ago or it's going to be tomorrow. That is my morality. Now, for you to say that sometimes this is okay and there are situations that dictate it, no way. What you sound like is some Muslim F-tard over in some douchebag country who's circumcising little girls and saying this is the right thing to do. No, it's not. It's not ever the right thing to do. It's wrong, it's vile, and it's just an abomination. Stoning a woman to death is an abomination. Harassing homosexuals just because of their sexuality is the abomination. Do you understand where I'm coming from? You're coming from the point of view that sometimes situations dictate that those actions are okay, and I'm saying no, they're not ever okay. And I would say that my morality is superior to anything that you can propose that came from some made-up deity. Do you understand where I'm coming from? Rather than talk specifics, talk about the intention that's coming behind that type of thinking, and then saying that you get all your morality from this deity that hasn't been proven or anything like that. That is the problem I'm having with this sort of discussion and these sort of points that aren't just localized to you. This is a common thread throughout theism, particularly Christianity, that I'm seeing on the internet and YouTube. Go down to the next paragraph. In the case of the Old Testament law, supposedly God came down and covered a mountain with fire and spoke from an earthquake of the Ten Commandments. Just on a side note, I want you to really think about that, what you've just said there, Ben. What you've described is a primitive people seeing a volcano erupt, saying that's God doing it, and then you, as a person who has answers, we live in modern society still running with this. Do you understand where I'm coming from? You're taking your instruction from a book that was written by a people that thought God was a volcano. And there's a number of other verses that sort of point to him being a volcano. Exodus 13:21, by the day the Lord went ahead of them as a pillar of cloud to guide them on their way, and by night pillar of fire to give them light. That wasn't the Lord. That was a volcano. Okay, these are primitive people looking at a well-defined natural occurrence and saying it was God, because they didn't have the answers. But you, as a person living in modern society who has those answers, is still running with that, okay? And then using that book as your instruction for everything. Just as a side, I think really think about that and think about where you're coming from, basically, with this whole theist thing. It's probably worth just reevaluating a little bit. Okay, Ben, I think I'll leave it there for now. And just keep in mind that when you're watching this video, I'm attacking your argument. I'm not attacking you personally. I don't know you, so I won't do that. Um, so just keep that in mind when you're watching the video and you think that I sound condescending or insulting. Just put it in context that we're really just dealing with ideas here and not ourselves personally. So I think, yeah, mate, I'll leave it there, and thanks for your time, and I hope to hear from you soon. Okay? Have a good one.